Hey everyone, thanks for joining. We're going to get started in about 2 minutes. We still got a few folks rolling in. Want to thank everybody for their time as well. I know everybody's busy, but very, very excited about the speakers and the content that we'll be discussing today. Um, Pana's been busy and she has a big release coming up as well. So excited to see what she's cooking and we'll kind of go from there. But we'll go ahead and get started in about a minute or two. Thanks, everyone. All right, John, if you wouldn't mind start the recording. Let me know when that's been completed.
Yep, it started.
All right. Well, hey, welcome everyone. Thanks for taking time out of your day. Excited to talk about how agentic AI agents are providing high performance customer experiences. We're going to go through the next hour talking about some of the innovation that Microsoft's doing. John is going to do a deep dive on the agents, and Jen is going to talk about how Stuart Title is leading the AI charge and some of the benefits that they're seeing. So, very good agenda from today's perspective. So, what we're going to do, we're going to get through the welcome and introductions quick. We're going to jump into the Microsoft Copilot and Innovation Roadmap. We're going to see agents in action. John's going to actually show that. And then we're going to hear the Stewart title story. Jen's going to kind of talk through, what they've done, tips and tricks, best practices, what they've learned through their AI journey. And then we're going to open up to Q&A at the end. So, with that said, just a quick introduction of the speakers. Apanya, thank you again so much for attending. 12.7 years working in the cloud, with Microsoft, 23 years industry experience. She's been leading the charge around customer service contact center, rolling out agents, really innovating around those concepts and disrupting the industry as well in a good way. So very excited to see your talk track. We also have Jen, who works for Stewart Title. She's been in the industry for about 15 years. Been the Stewart Title AI leader over the last 4 years. And then last but not least, we have Mr. John Rossi, who is our CTO, Senior VP of Strategy. So again, he's been working with the platform for over 19 years and doesn't look a day over 20. So excited about this speaker group that we have, and I'm sure everybody's going to get a lot out of the session. Real quick about your host, CompuSoft Digital. We've been in business about 25 years, 500 innovators globally across the world, and we focus on the Microsoft stack, AI, the Copilot, Biz Apps, Azure, security, data, etc. Have quite a few certifications, ISO certifications as well, and these are the industries that we, focus on. Before we get started, one of the things that always come up and some of the blockers that are happening in this space are the ones that we're seeing here. Some are easy to address, other ones are not. We're going to kind of talk through, some of these concepts as we go through the presentation. We're going to clearly illustrate how Microsoft makes it easier to consolidate data and integration when you look at the security and governance built in, defining the ROI, and then the agent sprawl, et cetera. So just want to kind of throw this up just to kind of get everybody aligned from that standpoint. In addition to, this is pretty interesting when you look at McKinsey and some of the other analysts out there. These are the functions that AI is really adopting to. Sales and marketing, other functions, that's a little bit misleading. There's about 10 in that bucket. But the big areas that we're seeing innovation succeed is around sales and marketing, software engineering, customer service, and R&D. So again, think about how you can apply these concepts to your particular business group, your business model, in your organization. Now, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn over to Apana. Apana, the floor is yours. So excited to see what you have to share. I think you're on mute. Yep, there you go.
There you go. Once in a meeting, you are supposed to do this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Greg. It's always pleasure being in this webinar with ComQSoft. A lot of excitement, a lot of energy ComQSoft brings into setting up these webinars. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Today, we are going to talk about agents in contact center in particular. And quickly jumping in, let me start with a journey that most of us have been through. The first era was the digitization era. Now, this is where we moved from paper to systems, CRMs, tickets, knowledge bases came in. And at that time, it really felt revolutionary. But here's the truth. The entire cognitive load was still on humans. Human was still the system. We logged it, we tracked it, and we carried the entire load. Technology just gave us a better filing cabinet. Then came the wave of automation. And what we all thought, this is going to solve all problems, and let's automate our way out of the volume. We added rule-based chatbots, conversational IVRs, routing trees, and we believed that we have solved customer service. And on the other hand, our customers thought that they have entered in hostage negotiation because all they got was menu options. Press 1 for billing, 2 for support, 3 to question your life choices, and 4 to lose your mind. And then came the age of intelligence. This is where we are in today. And we are so lucky to be in this wave of intelligence because we can now change and create systems that learn from every interaction and moving towards autonomous state wherein they can anticipate customer needs before they even say it. They can make those conversations more contextual and autonomous decisions to resolve it. This is the age of intelligence we are in at this moment. So we are all going to talk about the agents inside contact center that are coming up and how they're impacting a lot of customers. And why you should all care about this? Because believe it or not, your customers are comparing you not with the best of the industry anymore. They are comparing with you with the best of the large language models that have been democratized and are at their disposal. Because a lot of times I get asked, hey, will this work as good as ChatGPT? Will this work as good as Claude? Those are the kind of questions you are getting these days. And that's what we are focused on at Microsoft. We are focused on building contact center, building agents that are purpose-built to address the needs of the next generation of workforce, wherein AI agents, co-pilots, and humans are going to work together and they create an environment that's fast, that's scalable, that's adaptive, and also deeply human because human role is now elevated. So agentic contact center isn't about replacing people, it's about empowering them with AI that amplifies their impact. And we do that by focusing on three key pillars. First and foremost, the entire industry is moving towards outcome-driven approach. So if you're not there yet, I would strongly recommend to start focusing on what does success look like when we are doing transformation. That's the outcome-driven approach. How do we drive that success with AI? Not doing AI just for the sake of AI, but correlating the AI first approach with outcomes. And most importantly, we all know that business transformation, business ecosystems are very complex ecosystems. So ripping and replacing the entire ecosystem in one shot is very difficult and challenging. And that's where, how do we identify the value driving use cases that we can roll out in a very iterative manner with complete and composable structures is the future of the agents that we are building in. So going a little bit into depth of what do we mean by outcomes. In contact center, there are three key outcome buckets that matter to business. First and foremost is your customer satisfaction, your customer experience. Second is the operational efficiency. This is where things like average handling time comes into picture. And most importantly, top of mind for every CXO is how do I convert my contact center, my customer engagements into from cost centers into revenue generating engines. And the true success formula is not on over indexing just on one pillar. The winning formula is a combination of better customer experience, lower cost, and higher revenue. And the best thing at Microsoft is that we dog food all the products, all the AI agents that we develop, and we use it, we try to break it, we test it, and all the learnings that we get from it, we try to put it back into the product. And from there, we not only share the best of the products, but also the learnings that we have had by adopting those products within our own ecosystem. And many of these learnings are shared publicly. You will see Microsoft blogs wherein we have achieved double-digit improvements in our own customer service and support divisions, sales, marketing divisions by using our AI agents and products, and not just us. Some of the leading industry-leading enterprises have seen those benefits, not just from banking, but across all industries. These case studies are available because we want you to be able to correlate with someone who looks like you, who feels like you, who's dealing with similar problems just like you. So that's the outcomes approach that I was talking about. Then is AI. Now, AI unlock is a true value. And most importantly, the products that are born in the AI era, they truly feel different because AI is not bolted on. AI is not sprinkled. AI is there at every step of the customer journey, starting from self-service to assisted service and autonomous management. We are infusing AI at every step of the customer journey. All our agents can be authored inside Microsoft Copilot Studio. Microsoft is heavily betting on Copilot Studio, making it the one-stop shop engine where you can build your agents, you can test your agents, you can run evals, and then you can publish associated with all other engines as well. And most importantly, these agents that you're building, you build once and you use it across all channels. We are infusing AI inside routing to ensure that you can collect all the context and leverage all that context for routing with sentiment-based routing, with LLM-based routing, so on and so forth. And most importantly, for your humans to improve their productivity, we have things like sentiment, transcription, translation, next best answers, next best actions, and also AI agents that work on behalf of your human agents. More importantly, three specific agents that we are going to focus on in this meeting today. Because as Greg pointed out, this meeting is all about AI agents and how AI is transforming the business. Starting with Customer Assist Agent, this is the agent that you can feel confident to put it in front of your customers. And as I mentioned, you create the agent once and you deploy it across all your channels. I have heard from real customers of the impact this agent is able to drive. Earlier, it used to take 8 to 9 months to build an AI agent or a conversational agent, chatbot, before it reached to a state where you would feel confident to put it in front of your customers. Now, I have a customer success story who were able to build Customer Assist Agent in a matter of days and weeks. Not just that, they were able to deploy that agent. And remember, outcomes-driven approach. So they were able to deploy that agent and check the outcomes that this agent was driving for their contact center. In one of the case studies, the order processing queue had double-digit improvements in the processing time because of customer assist agent. Then comes one of the most important aspects inside contact center, quality. A lot of organizations which are in banking sector, health sector, finance sector, for them, quality is of utmost importance. And today, most of the quality happens manually. Like for every 20 agents, 40 human agents, we have one supervisor who is doing quality audit. Because it's driven by humans, you cannot scale. It is done by sampling. And most of the insights on how to fix quality come after the conversations are done. But with quality assurance agent, we have both real-time quality assurance that will coach your human agents on the fly, not just your human agents, but AI agents as well. So it's both real time and as well as after the fact. We have the capabilities of planning frameworks wherein it allows you to choose whether you want to do 100% quality audit or whether you want to do a small percentage of quality audit because of the AI cost. So the control of your destiny is in your hands. And last one, by now, I'm sure everybody would have heard vibe coding. So what we bring to you is service operations agent, which simplifies the complexity of contact center setup. So just like the way you provide natural language instructions, you do vibe coding to stand up an application, you can provide natural language instructions to set up a contact center and get it going. I have true figures from a lot of SI partners who have tried this and mentioned to me that they have gained 30% reduction in their setup times. What a big win. Now, a lot of great talking through the slides. I would love to show you how some of these agents are getting adopted in our customer space by playing a very short video of 3 minutes, because I'm sure John is queued up with high energy live demos. So I'll just play this video. And this is the story of Lenovo, how we are working with Lenovo to transform their contact center with the help of our customer engagement and contact center tools and AI agents. Wow, isn't that cool? And Lenovo had a multi-year journey of transforming their contact center, which takes us to the next segment of the session, which is complete and composable. We truly understand that ripping and replacing the entire ecosystem in one shot is not possible. That's where we have the power of Microsoft ecosystem that is available to your at your disposal in a very composable Lego block way. You can start your journey with wherever you like, and then across the portfolio, you can adopt the product, you can adopt the AI agents. Even the contact center and AI agents that you have today, they work within Microsoft CRM as well as with your own existing CRM, even if it is your homegrown CRM. So all those tools work on both. And most importantly, why so many customers are choosing Microsoft is because it's not just about the product, it's not just about AI, but it is about the enterprise context. Most of the conversations, collaborations, structured data, unstructured data is spread across the different tools. So when these tools are there, the enterprise context is spread across and fragmented. When you pick up Microsoft Contact Center AI agents, they are aware and deeply integrated through this enterprise context. So what you get is an AI which is not just out of the box AI, the AI that is trained on the enterprise context, an AI that is there to assist you, to do actions on behalf of you, that has learning loops, and is tuned to your specific needs. And most importantly, for Microsoft, trust is one of the most important vectors. We all know how much guardrails, security, compliance, and responsible AI matter in this generation. So trust is an important vector that you should not take it lightly, which Microsoft is heavily invested in while we make these AI agents climb the quality hill and make them better. So, on that note, again, thank you so much, Greg, for having me in this conversation. If you have any questions, I'm here to help you. I see one question in the IM window. I'll respond to that. I'm also very active on LinkedIn, so please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or reach out to Greg and he'll connect you with me. More than happy to have any follow-up conversations that you may have questions on. Back to you, Greg. Thank you so much once again.
Yeah, thank you. And great point. Please connect with everyone on LinkedIn. The content that this team is publishing is spot on. So I think everyone should definitely connect and there will be some good lessons to learn. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pass it over to Mr. John Rossier. He's going to go through the agents in action. So John, over to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Greg. So let me go ahead and start this up. Hope everybody can see my screen. So right away we kind of jumped to it. Thank you, Alpana. And we heard, how the Microsoft AI agents can work together across your entire customer service lifecycle, from discovery to resolution to continuous learning. I'm going to take a deeper dive with the following agents. Starting with the customer intent agent, instead of waiting for the customers to explain everything, the agent analyzes the historical and real-time interactions to quickly understand intent, recognize any changing needs, and recommend the next best action. The business outcome is simple. It's basically just faster recognition of what the customer is looking for based upon their natural language. Next is the case management agent, which takes much of the administrative burden away from the service representative. It can create and update cases, track required information, monitor SLAs, initiate follow-ups, and even help drive cases toward resolution. That means lower handling time and less administrative effort. And finally, you're going to be taking a look at the knowledge management agent, which turns those successful resolutions into organizational knowledge, automatically creating and improving knowledge content. So instead of 3 isolated AI capabilities, you have a continuous cycle, understanding the customer, resolving the issues much faster, learning from their resolutions, and make the next customer interaction even better. Like many other organizations out there, you're under pressure to deliver faster, more personalized customer service while reducing a lot of your operational costs. Yet most customer service representatives still spend too much time searching for information, documenting cases, and navigating multiple applications instead of solving customer problems. That's where Microsoft Dynamics 365 Customer Service Contact Center case and knowledge-based management agents change the game. Here's a really quick clip on the agent in action.
What makes this especially powerful is that it works across your enterprise data. Whether information resides in Dynamics 365, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, Dataverse, or connected business applications, the case management agent brings the right information together in a single experience, giving every representative complete customer context without switching between systems. The business impact is significant. Faster case resolution through AI-assisted workflows. Lower average handle time by eliminating manual documentation. Higher first contact resolution with intelligent recommendations. Improved customer satisfaction through personalized service. Better compliance with complete and consistent case records. Increased productivity by allowing representatives to focus on complex customer interactions instead of repetitive tasks. Let's see how the case management agent reduces the manual burden on service reps throughout the case lifecycle. Here, I'm a service rep, and I've been connected with a customer to resolve a new issue. Instead of having to manually create a case, I see the agent has already generated one. It identified relevant case details based on the customer's history and the transcript to auto-populate the appropriate fields. With Copilot, I'm also provided with a summary and other information to help quickly get me up to speed, and if I need a little more help, it will jumpstart collaboration with Microsoft Teams. Once I finish this chat with the customer, the agent will provide a summary and continue managing any follow-up needed for this and my other open cases. Here, the next day, alerting me to an email from the customer. It proactively drafts responses, which I have the option to review and edit before they're sent. Otherwise, the agent will continue monitoring and autonomously responding as needed until I'm prompted it's time to close the case. Once I confirm, the agent automatically generates wrap-up notes, fills in the resolution details, and closes it for me. What makes this especially
For organizations, managing a lot of the high case volumes, Dynamics 365 Case Management Agent, as you just saw, it really transforms the customer service into a reactive process, into an intelligent AI-driven experience. This just isn't about adding AI to customer service. It's about creating a digital teammate that works alongside every single one of your representatives, helping them resolve cases faster, make better decisions, and deliver exceptional customer experiences every single time.
Once the customer's intent has been identified, the agent immediately begins orchestrating the next best experience. It can classify the interaction, route it to the correct queue or specialist, surface the most relevant knowledge articles, initiate automated workflows, retrieve information from connected business systems, and even engage additional AI agents to resolve the request, all before a human representative has to intervene. Imagine a customer saying, "My order was supposed to arrive yesterday, and I need it before tomorrow's installation." The intent agent instantly recognizes that this is more than an order status inquiry. It understands the urgency, identifies a potential delivery exception, retrieves shipment information from ERP and logistics systems, recommends the appropriate resolution process, and, if necessary, escalates the interaction to the correct service team with complete context. The business impact is significant around the following: detecting customer intent from a voice or chat conversation, automatically classifying and prioritizing the request, routing the interaction to the optimal queue or AI agent, retrieving enterprise data, ERP, CRM, or knowledge base, handing off to a human representative with a complete AI-generated summary and recommended next actions. Copilot agents can help contact centers improve customer experiences, drive efficiency, and reduce costs. Let's see how the customer intent and customer knowledge management agents work in tandem to enable evergreen customer self-service and assisted service. I'm a senior service rep, and I've just received an escalation for an issue that wasn't on our radar. As I work, the customer intent agent is continuously learning from me how to identify and resolve this and other complex customer issues as they arise. It discovers new intents from customer conversations across all channels by analyzing case notes, transcripts, and summaries, mapping issues to corresponding resolutions that the agent maintains in a library. In parallel, the customer knowledge management agent ensures knowledge articles are kept perpetually current, automatically identifying opportunities to update existing articles or draft new one based on the discovered insights. The agent autonomously drafts and publishes the content. And since I have oversight, all I have to do is approve the update. Now, the next time a customer reaches out, our self-service tools like chatbots and IVRs are ready, dynamically armed with the latest intents and knowledge content. No manual updates required, which means fewer escalations for me. And when I need help diagnosing a customer issue, Copilot is here for me too, proactively surfacing prompts fueled by the customer intent agent and providing me with the latest guidance harnessed by the customer knowledge management agent. Organizations can dramatically reduce average handle time by eliminating the manual effort of identifying customer needs. Customers are routed correctly the first time, improving first contact resolution while reducing costly transfers. AI ensures every interaction begins with the right context, allowing service representatives to spend their time solving problems instead of gathering information. The intent agent also becomes smarter over time. By continuously learning from customer interactions and organizational data, it helps identify emerging trends, common service issues, and opportunities to automate repetitive requests. Leaders gain insights into why customers are contacting the organization and can proactively improve products, services, and operational processes. The Dynamics 365 Customer Service Intent Agent isn't simply another chatbot or routing engine. It's the intelligent front door to your customer service organization, understanding customer needs, coordinating AI-driven actions, and ensuring every interaction starts with the right intent, the right information, and the right outcome. That's the power of AI-driven customer engagement, understanding what customers need before they ever have to ask twice.
All right. So taking a look at that, I mean, and that of course happens across all my different channels, right? So whether that is, coming in from customers, going in through the chat channel or a voice channel, it works exactly the same. Being able to, again, whether if you're a seasoned agent or someone that is just absolutely, just started, all that information is in there to help guide them, to the next steps. So which really kind of helps me, like, why does these, like, help drive a lot of our business outcomes? So when we talk about the Microsoft agents, the conversation shouldn't start with AI technology. It should start with business outcomes. The real question executives aren't asking isn't how many agents can we build? It is, what measurable impact can these agents have on our business? Those Microsoft agents give organizations an opportunity to move beyond traditional automation by combining AI, business data, workflows, and human experiences to fundamentally, change how work gets done. Across the top of this slide are 6 areas where we see some of the greatest opportunities. First is productivity. Agents can take repetitive activities away from employees, searching information, summarizing cases, creating follow-ups, updating records, or answering routine questions so people can spend more time on higher value work. The second is around customer experience. Agents can help organizations respond faster, provide more personalized interactions, and maintain context across voice and digital channels. The third is around efficiency. This is where agents become particularly powerful. Instead of simply automating an individual task, an agent can actually help, orchestrate an entire business process, gathering the information, reasoning across the data, giving giving and taking actions, and escalating to a person when necessary. That translates directly into our fourth outcome, lowering operating costs. When we reduce manual work, shorten process, cycle times, and increase the self-service, we can begin changing the economics of delivering our services. But it isn't only about doing things faster or cheaper. Agents can also strengthen their risk, governance, and compliance by helping your organization apply consistent processes or policies, securities, and controls across any interaction that's coming into our systems. And finally, agents create opportunities for innovation and growth, new services, new customer experiences, and entirely new ways of operating that simply weren't practical before. What makes Microsoft's approach especially compelling is the ecosystem underneath these agents. Organizations aren't, just starting from scratch. Agents can work across Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, Power Platform, Copilot Studio, Azure, and other enterprise data and application. That means we're bringing AI, into the tools, processes, and data that organizations already use today. And because agents, are extensible, we can start to focus on business problems, prove the value, measure the results, and then expand the agent strategy across the entire organization. That's an important, distinction. We don't need to transform the entire enterprise in just one day. We can start with outcomes that scale based on measurable value. So the message I want to take away from this slide is simple. The Microsoft agents aren't just another autonomous, technology. They're a new way to deliver business outcomes. Obviously, happier customers, more productive employees, faster processes, lower operating costs. Which means greater agility and ultimately sustainable growth. These will be a lot of this is the way that how most of these organizations that identify the right business outcomes first and then build agents specifically designed to deliver them. And with that, I just want to wrap up, my topics. So I'm going to send it over to you, Jen.
Thank you, John. Hi, everyone. I'm just going to share my slide deck here real quick. Perfect. Thank you, John and Alpana. That was fantastic. I think they both covered such a great variety, as Alpana talked about, from the era of like digitization to where we are today with AI intelligence. And as John specifically was talking very much on the outcomes portion, and that is where I'm going to spend some time to talk to you guys on, which is really bringing everything down into what it actually looks like inside a real title company today. What's worked, what hasn't worked, and what has it produced. So, real quickly, as Greg shared, my name's Jen Yosef, and I really want to walk you guys through today through our AI journey. I want to walk you through what the title production workflow we built first. Then from there, I'm going to really kind of widen the lens of 3 other AI initiatives that we built across the businesses, and then close with what showed up in all 4 of them. So every journey starts with some sort of a real operational pain point. And I think John said it perfectly, right? For business executives, they don't want to hear, oh, here's the AI technology that we're going to use. They want to hear about here's my pain point, what is the outcome that we will be able to give to them. So our title examiners were doing enormous amounts of manual abstracting. That means, they are literally pulling names, legal descriptions, liens, exceptions, and these are coming out of documents that have been scanned multiple times, or these are documents that were written by hand. And some of these were from the 1800s. So you can imagine from the quality of what these documents are, this is quite the task. The legacy OCR software that we were working on worked fine when it came to very clean typed pages. But as soon as you do something that it gets a little bit trickier, it was failing. And so we were talking about, accuracy that was anywhere from like 60 to 65%, right? So that means that majority of it now is still falling on humans to be able to actually clean up, do the verify things, and do the manual element. And so given that, our mandate wasn't, hey, you need to go buy an AI tool. It was, how can we get the cost per file and the cycle time under control without sacrificing the accuracy? That framing is super important, and it mattered. It's what kept us focused on the outcomes and not the features for the rest of the journey as we built this out. So rather than one monolithic AI tool, we built a chain of purpose-built agents, right? So obviously throughout these conversations, you've been continuing to hear this. And here is an actual practical example of how we did, and we were able to have each one own one step of the file lifecycle. So from the search and discovery agent, automating the title search itself, that means like pulling out policies that were formally written, underwriting history, to then the examination exception review engine, which was kind of sitting on the downstream side, and then all the way to the policy assembly agent that's taking over these exceptions, clearing it, assembling the final package, and tying it all together in a production copilot that guides these examiners across the whole file and not just one step. So one quick note on the plumbing underneath all of these, right? What we did was we replaced, as I mentioned about that original OCR software, with a confidence scored document intelligence layer. It routes everything. It isn't anything that it is not sure that it'll be able to give the accuracy that it needed. It routes it automatically to a human. And the other key element that is an important piece to understand is we roll this out market by market, right? Rather than flipping on a national switch. And any of you who are sitting here in the audience today and come from either a title background or understand, those regulated industries, it is very important to make sure to understand the nuances because these are state by state that we're dealing with. This is what was actually produced in production. This is not a lab, this is actually production, right? So across abstracting work, covered by our search, we measured a 41, almost a 42% time savings. I mean, those are real numbers from our own operations. This is not a vendor benchmark, right? With one of our regional offices, examiners were processing files that were roughly 3 times faster than their prior manual workflow. So immediately you can see the impact that this is having. So this pilot is live. We're deliberately, not declaring victory on this and rolling it out nationally until we've seen it hold across a full production cycle. And this document intelligence platform, as I'm mentioning, which is replacing our legacy OCR, is a phased rollout, right? Title production is one workflow. What I would like to do is now I want to show you guys, 3 other places that we've run essentially the same playbook because that's where the lessons really get proven. This was our first up. I'm going to share about our valuation knowledge assistant. So the pain point here was appraisers and the valuations team were burning hours and hours, right? They're digging through SOPs, lender guides, regulatory bulletins scattered across dozens of systems. And as I shared earlier, very, very heavily regulated industry, right? So what we ended up doing, we built a conversational assistant grounded in more than 200 curated knowledge sources. So the answer arrives in seconds with its source attached instead of a person hunting through folders. And I do want to ensure that this is something because that number 200 curated knowledge sources can seem, oh, it's easy. Let's just dump in a bunch of sources. Remember, even this one, there was phased approaches from the standpoint of, okay, let's try it with, 50 documents, then kind of move it, to that 100 point. It's very, very important to ensure that accuracy is at the top of everything. So what this did, from an outcome standpoint, 90% engagement across more than 7,500 views, and we had 70 active users in a trailing 90-day period. And I want to make sure that I call this out because sometimes this can seem as though it's a vanity metric. It is not. Engagement, especially right now, means that people are actually using it and trusting what it tells them, which is the hardest thing to earn. For many of you that are in this on a day-to-day basis, you can relate to that, right? And what it has taught us is probably the single most useful lesson in this whole deck, that knowledge quality beats model selection. We didn't get this result by picking any sort of a fancier model. We got it by being disciplined into what goes into the knowledge base. And another piece that's important, I'm sure everybody's heard this, garbage in, garbage out, right? So if there's bad data in, bad data out. So it's very, very important to make sure that all of those things are upfront, understood, that operational rigor is there before being able to engage in such initiatives. The second one that I want to walk through is something called a FERPTA compliance assistant. Just the just what it stands for is just as mouthful as the process is, right? So it is Foreign International Real Estate Tax Act. And the rules, this is all about the rules around foreign seller tax withholding. It can be if anything goes wrong, this is a genuinely very expensive mistake. You've got your legality regulations from just your own organization, and then on top of that, there's the IRS elements that are added to it. And so escrow officers in this scenario were constantly escalating even the simpler questions, right? And answers vary depending on who's actually answering it, which I'm sure, again, is very relatable. So in this scenario, we built an assistant that trained specifically on approved procedures with broad general knowledge that was turned up. So it literally could not answer outside of what was being vetted. Here was the outcome. Around 400 users. This is something we're very proud of, right? Zero major defects reported across the launch, lower regulatory risk, faster answers for escrow officers, and far fewer escalations to specialists for the routine questions. This one, what the lessons learned was accuracy beats automation. This tool is built to escalate to the person the moment its confidence level drops, rather than guess, which is a very critical piece, right? It will never state a compliance sensitive answer it isn't sure of. And that's exactly why it launched clean. Guardrails mattered more than the speed. And that's the rule. That's another one of those lessons that we've learned, that we want to ensure guardrails are in process and we have a healthy speed, and we apply that everywhere. The third one is our employee support assistant. This one is an IT story, not a customer facing one, but the lesson is too good for us to leave out here. The first version ran on third-party AI platform, and to be fair, it worked, but it was automatically triaging thousands of tickets a month. And we hit a ceiling, right? Accuracy plateaued, and it was about 45 to 50%. So a lot of tickets still needed that manual routing. Licensing costs kept climbing up, and critically, we had no way to improve the underlying model using our own ticket history. So we rebuilt it in-house, trained our own data. Outcome, roughly 260,000 in projected first-year savings against the prior vendor cost of 327,000 a year. What this taught us is own your own data. Very, very important. Own your own data, not just the tools. The savings are always nice, but the real point is that vendor AI isn't always cheaper long-term, and the hidden cost of not owning your data is a tool that stops improving right when it matters the most to you. So here's a thread that ties all four of these together. And it's the one lesson that I tell anyone out there, right? Whether it is anybody in the title industry or other industries, is prove it narrow before you scale it wide. And as you see, the pattern that I'd shared in all of those different use cases was the fact that we started small and then scaled. The title production, the valuation assistant, FERPTA, and the employee support rebuild all followed that same four-step path. We piloted with one team, one use case. We instrumented the specific metric that we cared about, right? Very important to highlight that, where there was a cycle time, the engagement, the accuracy, and measured it before and after on the same workflow. We validated that the result itself held across that production cycle, not just a good demo week, which again, lessons learned. I've seen it firsthand where we've had demos with executive leaders and they've not gone well. And then did we scale, feeding every real interaction back in as training data along the way. This is slower than a big bang rollout, right? We all know that when you hear from the executives, everybody wants that fast, but it's such an important piece because that is what really proves the success of it later on. So here are, as we wrap this up, as I wrap this discussion up, I'd love to just give that practical advice that I've pulled from all 4 of these initiatives. 1, pick one painful, repeatable task, not your hardest problem, right? It's very easy to look at that, but again, look at that painful, repeatable task. That's what made that almost 42% figure that I was talking about possible. You can measure improvement on a task that you've never measured in the first place. Trust me, we did a lot of time studies to actually do that right measurements. 2, structure your knowledge before you add a model. That's the valuation assistant's whole story, right? There's that curated, well-organized content, and that's what's going to beat bigger models every time. The third one is design the human checkpoint before you design the automation. And what I mean with that is decide where the person needs to confirm a decision before you build the workflow around it, because we all know that that human in the loop piece is always going to remain critical. And then build escalation path from day one. For that Querta assistant that I was sharing, that's what led to that clean launch, right? Never let that low confidence answer go out ungated. It can cost you a lot more than you thought, that speed and bringing in new customers was going to be able to. So where does this go from here, right? For us, we're continuing to look at things from like a national rollout standpoint. We're expanding agentic workflows further across into escrow and settlement operations and building on that same accuracy first architecture throughout, right? And maybe I think most importantly, we're treating this as a reusable capability, not just a one-off tool. Same guardrails, same pilot, measure, validate, scale, discipline, and that same knowledge quality lessons are what lets us stand up another AI initiative, and this time a little bit faster, right? This time a little bit cheaper and less risk than the last one. So that is the Stewart title story so far and the AI journey. And thank you. And I'm going to hand this back over to Greg.
Yeah, what a great story, Jen. Always amazing to see the outcomes and business value that you are delivering over there. I'd have to say top notch. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move into some questions. The speakers do not know what those questions are. So Alpana, if you could turn your video back on, we'll jump in and kind of go from there. So the first question is outside data, what is the number one blocker you're seeing, and how are you addressing it? So, Alpana, from your perspective, what are you seeing outside data is the number one blocker moving these initiatives forward?
It's when people try to boil the ocean instead
Yeah.
of picking a very small use case that can drive high value outcome, which when succeeds, helps you gain the momentum towards radical transformation. People try to do everything at once instead of starting with a value-based, outcome-driven, iterative approach. I believe that's another failure mode or blocker I have seen.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on with that one. And Jen kind of walked through, the pilot to scale kind of model. John, anything to elaborate on that from what you're seeing?
If I was picked the number one, I would have said the same thing. Just not having the right use cases, where we can actually scale. Like, think about how you can measure its success, and not just from a POC perspective, but start thinking a little bit bigger. But upon hit the nail on the head. I see too many people out there trying to boil the ocean and just not going after very specific, again, pick like a metric, average handle time, where we can go there. I love Jen looking at the data because it's not about that. It is garbage in, garbage out. Sometimes, and which is a good thing, it's showing us where we have bad data. That's not a bad thing. Let's go to our data sources. This is what it's telling us. We should probably go start looking there first as well. So I love think simple, but think measurable as well.
Yeah. Jen, what was one of the blockers that you experienced internally, holding technology constant? Just curious from your point of view, that how do you overcome it?
Yeah, so I think, and I'll share some stories, right, on this,
Mhm.
is model changes. So I think very easily it is so easy to be able to look at the front end of any platform and blame that the platform itself is not working because there was some sort of a model change and now the accuracy on your results changed. And I think this is to me that was a very critical piece to help business understand that we are living in this new world of AI transformation, that things are moving very, very rapidly. And model changes are going to be a part of it. And one the biggest lesson that we learned from our side of the world, right, running things as AI leaders, was we want to make sure that whichever vendor we're partnering with, whichever platform we're leveraging, we have very strong guardrails ahead of time, strong contracts that share that anytime things like a model change is happening, we are given at least, a 5 to 7 day business notice. So we understand this is coming down the pipeline. We can do the testing before business is the one that first discovers this problem. And then for them, it automatically becomes like, I don't like this platform. So for example, if it was like leveraging Gemini on GCP, they're like, oh, it was Gemini that did it, and we don't want to leverage it. Let's go back to Copilot. And all of a sudden, they see something in Copilot that didn't work. They want to ping pong, right? But having those, for us, from our leadership standpoint, that's a big thing that we can do,
Mhm.
partnering, ensuring that we've captured that before it goes down to business.
Yeah, great feedback. And, in closing, I would say organizational alignment consensus is critical, right? There's so much fodder and noise out there on what AI can and can't do. And then the use cases help align the business teams with the different dependencies. I would make sure that you have a closed loop use case, start small, like I think the speakers mentioned, and then organizationally align the team so that everyone's on the same page as far as expectations, outcomes, things along those lines. So, in closing, on behalf of CompuSoft Digital, Microsoft, and sorry about that, Jen. I need to change the Stewart title logo, Stewart title. On behalf of those, the primary speakers, we wanted to thank you for your time. And again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Also, connect to the LinkedIn folks. Connect with this team on LinkedIn. They're throwing a lot of content out there as well. So thank you everyone for your time, and this concludes the session. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.